everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're just seeing my face for the very first time, hi, my name is Adora and you're watching Life with Adabeke. If you're one of my returners, welcome. Thank you for not leaving me. You guys know I've been in the thick of things, so it's been a while, but expect plenty videos like on almost a weekly basis. Okay, so I am arranging everything for you guys. I'm arranging plenty content, very focused. I'm trying to organize stuff based on the season that we are, especially and then we'll go from there. You guys might notice I'm in a new place. I actually came to visit my sisters in St. Louis, so I'm so excited to be with them. It's been a while since I've seen them, and I'm just happy to be with them now. We are done with the surgery block, and as promised, as I always do, I'm coming today to come and kind of give you my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions about surgery and how I felt about it. As usual, I have my book here, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. Okay, so let's get into it. Remember from my one of my last videos, I did my emergency medicine anesthesia. So our surgery block is 12 weeks, and out of those 12 weeks, 2 weeks are dedicated to emergency medicine, 2 weeks are dedicated to anesthesia, and then 8 weeks are dedicated to surgery. So I did my EM and anesthesia up front, so when I talked about that, it was done. So then I had the remaining 8 weeks on surgery itself. So in my surgery, I was able to rotate through 4 surgical specialties. So I started off rotating in trauma, and I rotated through vascular, then I rotated through breast surgery, and I rotated through urology. So you have to realize that my surgical experience is only limited to these 4 surgical specialties. So I feel like it's important to put it out there. However, I do think the 4 of them were broad enough that I felt like, I was able to get a sense of at least what surgery is. Someone that decides to go into surgery kind of have an idea what surgery is. So I think it would be best for me to start with some of the pros first. One of the biggest pros for me on the surgery rotation is I feel like they involve med students. There's actually more med students involvement than I am for me. Maybe a little less than, no, I think like almost comparable to EM and anesthesia. Surgery, I felt like as a med school student, you were more involved. Like there were things you could do. So from the morning, like the rounds are pretty short, so we're just on rounds. But then in the OR, you're able to let the team know when the patient has been brought back. You're able to help prepping the patient for surgery. I scrubbed in so many times. You scrub in, and even during cases, they will allow you to suction, allow you to hold traction, all those kind of things. Like there are things you can do, and even at the end of the cases, they show you how to suture up wounds, how to staple, just different things. Like I feel like you're involved after the case. You do you're able to do post-op checks. You're able to do a lot of things, and then depending on the service that you're on, you're able to do more service specific things. I felt that surgery the second thing was I felt like surgery at my school is you actually get to see a wide range of things. So my school is a big teaching hospital, and that's actually that's a luck on our part, because you're able to rotate through pretty much like a lot of things. Like not a lot of schools have like urology, but we have urology, and I was able to rotate through that. We have like vascular surgery, and I was able to rotate through that. People were able to rotate through cardiothoracic. We have surgical oncology. We have like breast surgery. I feel like there's a lot of things because we're like a tertiary institution that we're able to see. And I rotated through trauma, and we're a level 1 trauma center. So I was able to see how what that looks like, when they call codes and all of that. It was pretty exciting, I'll say. So I'm very happy that I was able to get like a wide range of exposure to the specialty. Some people did neurosurgery, you know, because we have like a neurosurgery program. Like, there was just a lot of things if you wanted to do. We had plastics, we had pediatric surgery. So there was a lot of things to do, colorectal, bariatrics. There was really a lot. All of them are coming to my head. Like, there was a lot of stuff to do if you wanted to. I really liked being in the OR. I really actually liked being in the OR. I felt like the OR came, like, there was a sense, I don't know, I liked the feeling of being in the OR. I feel like everybody has what they do. Everybody is really good at their roles, and it felt like it was like a very coordinated dance, and I liked that aspect of being in the OR. I don't know, being in the OR, I was just, some people hate it, some people like it, you know. I did not like the standing for hours, but I think aside that, I liked the OR. You kind of get, like, I felt like I made, like, you know, a couple of friends here and there. Like when I was on vascular, because the vascular, they have 2 ORs that the vascular uses. So, and it's the same like scrub techs and scrub nurses that are assigned in those rooms. And I actually got, you know, they really looked out for me, and I got to, you know, like, I got to like become friends with some of them. So it was nice to me. I liked the OR. In general, I really, really, really liked trauma surgery, and that was something I was not expecting. And it's funny because, like, a lot of I found that a lot of residents didn't like being on trauma because trauma feels like medicine. Like, they do a lot of like medicine things. They end up not operating a lot unless the person that's coming in like needs an operation. So it feels like you're just managing a lot of things. But as a med student, I really liked being on trauma. I felt like on trauma, as a med student, I had defined roles, so I knew what to do. It kind of became like I felt that on trauma I was able to be very, very involved. I would say like trauma and vascular were probably the services that as a med student I was very, very involved, and I really enjoyed trauma. I kind of like liked the idea of like whenever they're like okoti, like the adrenaline rush of like going down, you know, you don't know what you're going to expect, you know, you don't know what you're going to see, so you just get there and it's like, okay, you know, going through your ABC. I don't know, I just like that. I liked like the systematic thinking involved in at least running codes and all of that, and then the rounding and stuff. I think trauma was like half, you know, the adrenaline, half medicine. So I'll say, yeah. And then just being on surgery, you get to learn a lot of like hands-on skills. You get like to practice your knot tying, you get to practice your suturing. And I like that. I liked that aspect, you know. I was able to like close and just you get to like practice doing a couple of stuff. Like I got on vascular, I was able to really get like experience with like wound dressing and changes and stuff like that. So I really like that. So those are the pros. Now to the cons. So I'll start with this. Surgery has this rep, like surgeons have this rap about coming off very rude, and sometimes they can be mean, and unfortunately I saw that a lot. I remember being in the OR once, and like one of the surgeons was like shouting at the residents, and like that happened, like, you know, it happened more than once. I don't know, surgeons have this like, you know, attitude, and everybody has to kind of fall in line. And I saw even sometimes the way that the surgery residents would talk about attendings, like from like medicine or neuro or something, like talk about attendings in other specialties. Like, I don't know, it wasn't everybody obviously, but there was just this like very toxic culture in some of the specialties. I'll say this was mostly among the general surgery residents, because when I was on urology, so urology is its own categorical program, I didn't feel like the residents were toxic. But like among the general surgery and I won't lie, vascular, like I felt like some of them, there was a good amount of toxicity. I had an attending who like stayed, you know, like having like a very combative interaction with the patient. I just saw stuff like that, like things I didn't even think about. And like, I don't know, suddenly they're just like go, And sometimes I feel like they're not everybody like really took the time to just chill and like, you know, think or talk about it, the patient. So there were just things that I saw that would like slip through the crack because of the kind of personalities and the culture in surgery. And that con was the time. So surgeons, they have to get there very, very early. So the first cases start by 7:30 and we have to round before that, and sometimes pre-round. So I would end up waking up at 4:45 a.m. in the morning so that I could be at school around 5:30. And that was very, very draining because it's not like, oh, you will now leave early. No, I'll get there at 5:30 and I'm probably not leaving till like 6, sometimes 6:30, depending on the service, especially when I was on trauma and vascular. I would end up leaving pretty late, and then you have to get home, you have to eat dinner, you have to shower, you still have to study because I have my shelf, I have, you know. So it was the time, it was very exhausting, very, very, very exhausting. I will not lie, like it's not. I was very happy that I did surgery like during the spring, summer, because at least when I'm leaving my house, there's lights outside. Imagine if I was doing it during winter. You leave the house, it will be dark. You come back, it will be dark. Like, God. So I'm actually glad about the time when I did it. This was specifically for our own clerkship. Our clerkship, the surgery was a bit disorganized, and I would say that it was due to our clerkship coordinator. She left the position like midway through the clerkship. So I think I'll chalk it up to that. But I think, you know, some of that disorganization, it affected certain things here and there. I'll say it was not like a con per se, but it was just something that happened. Another thing, scrub nurses. I know I spoke earlier about like some scrub nurses that took you under their wing and really wanted to help you. And I found that the scrub nurses that tended to be nicer were the younger scrub nurses. The older scrub nurses, I don't know what it is. I don't know, you know, like I feel like when people I have 20 years experience, I have 30 years, so they look at everybody like they are rubbish. I had scrub nurses who would make the med students wait outside until the patient was under, which made no sense because she was like, oh, there are too many people in the room. I'm like, I'm one, like I felt like they were scrub nurses who were like intentionally trying to like hinder my educational progress, because as med students we help the residents with like prep and all those kind of things. And I'm like, if you're making me wait outside, like I'm just here waiting outside of the OR for 10-15 minutes just outside for no good reason, like the resident doesn't know why, the attendant, nobody knows why, but because you just feel like, oh, or like it's just stupid things. Like I thought there were some scrub nurses that were very, very, I don't know, like they were very irritating and annoying because like they just feel like you're beneath them. I don't know, like as a med student, like I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm here to learn. I paid tuition. Like don't treat me like trash. I actually found more scrub nurses than even attendings would treat med students like trash. Like they just feel like, oh, the aura is their aura. So like everybody, like other than the surgeon, they don't feel the need to respect anybody else. Like I had a scrub nurse, and like a lot of them they are so inconsistent. Like I would have scrub nurses who would be like, oh no, you need to pull out your own gloves and gown, and that happened a lot. So I like got into the habit that, okay, when I come in, I'll introduce myself, you know, tell them, and I'll go and pull my. And one day, like, a scrub nurse is like, no, don't touch anything. Don't touch anything. I'll pull it for you. And I'm like, well, okay, you can just say it calmly. You don't have to shout. Like, I've had so many people say that they want you to pull your own gloves and gowns. So, like, obviously, if you want something different, just communicate that. Like, don't be rude. So, like, I just had that kind of experience, like, happen a lot of times. And it was very annoying. I even had one that during the case, like, I was in an amputation. And then, like, I think I handed something back to her, like back from the surgeon to her. And then she was like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do my job for me. God, like, it's not that deep. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I know how to do my job. You don't need to do my job for me. Because I handed you, so like I was just trying to be helpful, like just stuff like that. We had a scrub nurse who like went off on an anesthesia residence for no good reason and was just being rude, like even like the July 1st, the new residents are coming, you could just hear them like saying such mean and rude things. Like there were just so many times like that happened, like. And they were mostly older scrub nurses. They were mostly older, these older ones. The younger ones, like, the one maybe in their 20s, early 30s, didn't have it was the ones that have been here for 20 years, have been here for 30 years. I'm like, okay, calm down. Like, relax, okay. So what? So I think like that kind of fed into like, it's part of like the whole strong personalities. Like everybody has how they want to do things. Oh, I learned it this way. So if you don't do it like this, even though someone just taught you how to do this thing this way, and that person does not like that way, but they will just, it's like and everybody has strong personalities in surgery, not just the surgeon, the resident, the scrub nurses, the anesthesia, everybody. They all have strong personalities in surgery. Another thing I found that some female attendings, they would be outside of the OR, they would be very pleasant, helpful, they good sitters and everything, but in the OR they'll be very mean. At first I was thinking, am I the only, like, am I just misconstruing people? But then I found like the same people I had issues with, like I found other students had the same like experience about those same attendings as well. I don't know, it was just very weird. Like, it happened to me with and there are not a lot of like women in surgery, so when stuff like that happen, right, it kind of stands out, because if there are 5 people and 3 of them act a certain kind of way, that's 60% of your sample size, unfortunately. So that was a bit disappointing to me, honestly, I would say. But that was surgery. Overall, I had a pretty good experience. I would rate my surgery experience like 7.5/10, which is pretty good to me. I actually had a pretty good experience. I love trauma surgery so much that it has actually risen to one of the top specialties I'm considering going into residency for. But we'll see. I still have half of my clerkship to do. I actually have pediatrics next, and I'm looking forward to it so much, like spending time with the kiddos. I love kids so much. Yeah, that's it. If you made it this far in the video, please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And tell me if you've done surgery, like how was it? And if you haven't, like what about things I said like surprised you? What were some things I talked about that surprised you? Okay, until the next time, I remain your girl Adabeke. Okay, goodbye.